Hey, what's up guys, MugenLord here, and today we're going to talk about Square Enix. Yes, that's right, Square Enix just announced a crap ton of JRPGs, and I have to collect them all. I have to buy them all and actually play them. And what am I talking about here? Well, if you guys don't know, just last week, Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct, and oh man, I think they really let loose on this Direct with a lot of fun announcements that really got me excited. I mean, after I walked away from the Nintendo Direct, there's about maybe like 5 or 6 games that I am going to buy day one. But more specifically, the ones that really got my attention was the JRPGs that was announced, especially from Square Enix themselves. So I definitely want to give you my thoughts and opinions on them, because it appears that Square Enix is not really playing around this time around. And one of the announcements was something that I did not see coming, but we're actually getting this JRPG. So it makes me want to think about what is going on with Square Enix game plan moving forward into the near future. So before we dive into this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. Now, for starters, I do want to talk about first Visions of Mana, because Visions of Mana is one of the first games that we will actually be getting from Square Enix themselves for the second half of this year. And this is one of the games that I am really looking forward to, is because I'm a big Mana fan. I have grown up with the Mana series ever since the SNES with Secret of Mana on, back in the day in the early 90s. So it's very close and dear to my heart. And the fact is that we're actually getting a new entry, a next generation Mana game, really has me excited. All because of you guys. Me and the rest of you guys went out there and supported the Mana collection and also the Trials of Mana remake. And that gave Square Enix the faith that they needed in order for them to push forward with a new entry. And I think the smart strategy, the smart plan for Square to approach these IPs, especially when they're trying to revive older IPs, is to start out with smaller budgets, do smaller remakes or smaller remasters of some of these IPs to engage the audience and see if there is a need or a want for these franchises. And it worked. And now we got Visions of Mana, and with the newest trailer, which we haven't talked about here on this channel, man, they got introduced more characters, we introduced more classes and gameplay mechanics that really got me excited. And the thing that really pushes emphasis that this is truly a Mana game is because the creator of the Mana series, and they said it time and time again, they do not want Western influence with this Mana series. They don't want it. They're going to avoid it as much as they can. Now we have to wait and see. Like we always been saying this before, we've seen what happened to Stellar Blade with no censorship. We talked about Lollipop Chainsaw with repop and everything like that. They're talking about no censorship and Western influence and everything. We'll have to wait and see. But it's like they're hard set dead on keeping everything Japanese and traditionally Japanese with the Mana series. And this is why I love the Mana series the way it is, because it is very Japanese, even down to their very design. Of course, you're going to have some naysayers that talks about the character designs, talking about how the main character is androgynous, but these people are tourists, because if you don't know the Mana series, most of the male characters has that androgynous look, even dating back to Legend of Mana on the PlayStation 1 back during that time. So I don't get bothered by that. These are people that don't know what the hell they're talking about. But the fact is that we're actually getting this game, and it's also coming to Xbox as well. And the person who owns all 3 of the current gen consoles and everything, I'm gonna get it on the Xbox. I want to support it on the Xbox. I try to get as many JRPGs on the Xbox as much as possible. So this is actually coming out in August. So it's gonna close out the summer. Screens close out the summer with this title, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. But we're gonna move on to the next one. Now this is a title that many people weren't expecting. This is a title that many people weren't expecting to ever come out, was because they announced this back in, I believe, 2020 or 2021, which is the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake that people were anticipating. And then we did a video a couple days ago, or no, actually a month or 2 ago, talking about how Square Enix are pretty much re-strategizing how they release their IPs, that they're going to start, because they lost a lot of money, that they're going to start cutting projects. And people actually thought, I don't know why people thought this, people actually thought that Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake was on the chopping block of games and projects that they was going to cut. are you crazy? Are you ridiculous about this? That doesn't make any sense at all. This is Dragon Quest. Besides Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest is also a moneymaker of Square Enix. Why the hell would they cut a Dragon Quest game? That is asinine. Like I don't know why people actually thought that. But I digress. What we have here is that we finally got some new news and updates for Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D. Now, I'm gonna be real upfront with you. I was never a big Dragon Quest fan. I never even played a Dragon Quest game. I know a Dragon Quest. My brothers and them own Dragon Quest, especially DX Strike. He had Dragon Quest 8, which is one of his favorite ones on the PS2. But I never really played them. It's not because they're bad games. It was just one of those RPGs, especially the soundtrack. I was never really a fan of the soundtrack as well, and especially when it comes to the combat. You know, when it comes to turn-based, I like to see my characters and stuff like that, and see the things play out on screen, but it was always in first person when it came to the combat and the older ones and stuff. And I understand that was the tradition of those games, but I ended up giving Dragon Quest a chance once Dragon Quest Heroes came out, which was like the cross between Dynasty Warriors and Dragon Quest. And I love the gameplay mechanics because it kept the Dragon Quest mechanics and RPG mechanics and mixed it with the Dynasty Warriors, which I'm not really a big fan of the Dynasty Warriors games because of its repetitive nature. But when they added those elements together, it pretty much made me a fan of it. And with Dragon Quest Hero, it brings in characters from the different Dragon Quest series. So it got me to get an understanding of some of these characters. And because of that game, it made me want to dive in. And I ended up buying Dragon Quest 11 for the Nintendo Switch, which I still haven't even opened yet. I have too many games, I keep telling you guys that, but I'm going to get around to opening that game myself, or maybe buy the Xbox version because of the 60 frames per second. But now that this game, which is it has an HD 2D remake, and people say that Dragon Quest 3 is one of the best ones, I definitely want to hop into this. The Erdrick arc or series that they have with the first 3 games and everything, and the fact is that this game's actually coming out and people are looking forward to it, and the fact is that it looks like, compared to the old footage that they have shown in this game, and now with the newest footage, it's like they did a lot of improvement. And then we get a reason why, or I say it's a reason why we haven't heard so much about it, is because right after that trailer they essentially announced that they're doing a HD 2D remake of 1 and 2. So there's going to be a trilogy. It's going to be a trilogy, the Erdrick trilogy they're putting out here. So this is why we never heard anything from them. And it's going to be a November release. We're getting it in November of this year. So we have Visions of Mana in August, and then in November we also have this game, Dragon Quest HD 2D remake. Now, there's one more title that really got me, caught me off guard and by surprise, because this was a title that I really wanted, and then we found out at the time that it was announced that it was only going to Apple Arcade. I'm like, why? Like, we get a cool looking JRPG, but it's coming to mobile devices. I'm like, why do they keep doing this? Why do Japanese companies keep doing this? The father of Final Fantasy, this dude, he created a studio called Mistwalker. If you don't know who Mistwalker is, they were the ones especially behind Lost Odyssey, which was an Xbox 360 exclusive. Loved the hell out of that JRPG, and they went on to make Last Story and many other games, especially for the Nintendo Wii at the time. So these guys has been around for quite some time, and with his studio, he's been putting out some pretty good bangers, and Mistwalker was one of them. Mistwalker with their game Fantasian, which is now coming to the Nintendo Switch. So this caught me off guard when we actually saw this at the Nintendo Direct. I had no idea that they was actually going to bring this. But the good thing about this is a traditional JRPG. They go into a little bit of a unique style as far as its gameplay mechanics. They have interesting character designs that like I don't expect anything less from this team at all. And then we're going to get some of the composers that worked on plenty of Final Fantasy games that actually did music for this, and the fact is that they bring it over to the Switch, and the fact is that Sakaguchi himself, they went to Square Enix, and Square Enix actually worked this out with them to bring it over to the Nintendo Switch. That really says a lot, and it shows the relationship that he still has with Square Enix, despite some of the things back in the day and everything. So I'm excited for this. I know a lot of you guys are excited for this, and the fact that it's coming to Nintendo Switch, this will be perfect for the Nintendo Switch. I can't wait to get into a traditional turn-based RPG. Turn-based RPGs aren't dead. We got our Dragon Quest, and we got Fantasian Neo Dimension, which is also coming out, which I am super hyped for, super excited for. And what more can you ask for? And it seems like I don't have enough time to play any of these games. You gotta understand, as a content creator, as a 3D hentai animator, and I'm pretty much the MugenLord of that community. And then I'm also a comic book writer, and I'm working on my comic series and launching my comic book company. It's like I don't have enough time in a day to actually sit down and game. But when we get these moments, when it comes to these JRPGs, it's like I have to make time. It is a sacrifice, because I end up falling back on my work because I want to actually play these games. Now, the thing I want to say before I even close out is, like, I pray to God, because Fantasian comes out the holiday of this year. So we got Visions of Mana August, then we have November Dragon Quest, and then we got Fantasian sometime in this window and whatever. And I say this is because I hope, and they have and Square Enix have this thing about cannibalism, market cannibalism, where they just throw out a bunch of great titles all around the same window, and then either one or two titles are going to fail in terms of sales, because, you know, giving players options in games to play is a good thing, but if you don't space them out, some games are going to get left in the dust and be forgotten, long forgotten, especially if one title is more popular than the other. So we also have the same case, because we don't know, like 2 years ago, man, Square Enix was throwing them out, and I was enjoying every last bit of it. Diofield Chronicles. We also had Lava Live Remake, and then, of course, Star Ocean, The Divine Force, which I made that my game of the year, which I really enjoyed. Those 3 games was really good. And also the release Valkyrie Elysium, that wasn't really good to me after I played the demo, and I wasn't really excited for it when they first announced it, because it just didn't look like a Valkyrie game for me anyway. But those 4 games had released back to back, I mean months apart from each other. And some of those titles didn't sell well because of that very notion right there of this cannibalism, throwing these titles out back to back without spacing them out. So hopefully this isn't the case with this. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to play Fantasian, Neo Dimension, the Dragon Quest HD 2D of Part 3, and follow it 1 and 2 in the future of 2025, and then of course Visions of Mana. So this pretty much wraps up this video. Definitely want to hear your thoughts. Which titles are you looking forward to, or are you gonna get all 3 titles that I just mentioned in this video from Square Enix themselves? So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe button for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.